that I want you to deepen your understanding of what is possible for you. You can just bring your best. You can bring your energy. You could leave your pain and your past at the door. You could show up passionate and willing and understanding that you're going to come up against your limited beliefs. So what? We all do. But you move through them. Yeah, you're going to have some challenges at certain points. That's perfect. Because that's where you typically give up. But if you move past that, you're in the unknown. And that's where the miraculous always occurs. That when you open your heart, the field around your body expands. We know that. You broadcast a bigger magnetic field. And if you place a thought or an intention on that magnetic field, now you are changing the energy. You are contributing to the field. A higher amplitude. And a higher amplitude is more energy. So if you're feeling gratitude and you're feeling love and you're feeling passion and inspired and you're feeling free, it's that kind of energy then that begins to change the energy of the room. Lives can be changed. Past scars and wounds can be healed and removed. The mystical, the transcendent can happen to you. And you only need one of those experiences for you to realize that you can go back to being the same person again. You dipped into the divine, and it transformed you in some way. Because when you're baptized by that energy is carrying information, and it's carrying information about you. And your spectrum of reality is going to broaden. You are going to see more of reality. And so I want you to make the choice that you bring your best. I want you to make the choice that you are contributing to the energy in this room, you personally. Creating a coherent field that influences the next person, which influences the next person. That I want you to commit to the belief that you can do it. But if you reach a certain point and you stop, and that's where you normally stop in your life, it should tell you volumes why your dreams don't come true. Because that point right there is the end of your emotional belief. But on the other side of it is your freedom. And so I want you to commit that independent of your culture, the color of your skin, your age, your diet, your sexual preference, independent of all the things that create separation between you and someone else. But I want you to commit that there's a consciousness living within you that's giving you life, and that you can make contact with it if you get beyond yourself. But all that energy has to do is reach your heart, and the field around your body expands. And when it does, you are more energy than matter, more wave than particle. People spend their whole lives trying not to feel. Because why would you open your heart if you were damaged or shocked or bruised at a time in your life? Body's afraid. But we are going to open your heart. And every single meditation that we do, we are going to start with awakening that creative center. Center of oneness, center of wholeness, your connection to the unified field. You're going to rest your attention in the space in the center of your chest and space. Where you place your attention is where you place your energy. Now, we're directing energy. And then you are going to cultivate elevated emotions like invincibility, like empowerment, like freedom, being unlimited, feeling magnificent. And you're going to broadcast that energy. And that energy is going to carry an intent, because that energy is a frequency, and all frequency carries information. And what you send into the quantum field, you could only receive, because it's the same energy. What you send, you do receive. And when you feel that energy around you, the feeling of that energy and acknowledging it and paying attention to it and becoming aware of it will then send out a greater energy into the field. And all of a sudden, the divine will become present because you're placing your attention on it. We're bound by an invisible field of energy that connects us, and love is the glue that does it. And love has no limits. And if this intelligence that's giving you life is a loving intelligence and intelligent love, then when you make contact with it and your consciousness merges with its consciousness, you should begin to feel something. And that feeling is called wholeness or oneness. Your brain will become more coherent. The two halves of your brain will begin to fire more in unison. We've seen it enough times. At the exact same time, your heart will burst open, and you will be humbled by a greater love. And your heart will go into coherence, which will then feed your brain, which will then feed your heart, and all of a sudden, you're producing a huge electromagnetic field. And the energy around your body will begin to become more light, which means you're releasing more information. You're connected to something greater. The energy centers of your body will be more balanced because your autonomic nervous system is your nervous system of balance and order. And all of a sudden, from energy to thought or consciousness, to neurology, to neurochemistry, to neurohormones, to genes, to cells, all of a sudden become more balanced. And you should feel a greater sense of well-being within you and all around you. And you should be able to see a whole new landscape. And those people who worked on opening that center, we measured their immune response. We measured what happened when they were able to sustain a coherent heart just for 10 minutes a few times a day. Their immune system got significantly stronger. A chemical called immunoglobulin A, a protein that's made by many, many different genes, upregulated and began to heal the body. And people's stress hormones, cortisol levels, went down. They downregulated. They switched off the gene for stress. And the moment cortisol was no longer being manufactured from another chemical called DHEA, DHEA was now available to begin to heal cells. All of a sudden, they started feeling better, and their pain went away, and they felt more in harmony and balance just by touching that field. I guarantee you, if you follow the instructions and do it, you'll be a lot happier than when you started. I promise. And we are going to unfold into that infinite unknown place. And you are going to become a nobody, a no one, in nothing, in nowhere, and in no time. You're going to become pure consciousness, who you really are, when you're not a gender, or a culture, or a face, or a profession. And I'm going to ask you to go from somebody to nobody, from someone to no one, from something to nothing, from somewhere to nowhere, and from sometime to no time. Because I want you to fall into becoming everybody, everyone, everything, everywhere, in every time. That's the quantum field.
All too often, we mistakenly equate the process of healing or personal transformation with comfort and ease. We fall into the trap of believing that as long as everything feels good, we are moving in the right direction. When things start to feel uncomfortable or challenging, we immediately assume that we have taken a wrong turn or that something has gone awry in our journey. But the reality is quite different. True change, the kind that transforms us at the deepest levels, requires us to leave behind what is familiar and step into the unknown. It demands that we let go of the predictable and habitual patterns that have formed the foundation of our comfort zones, even when those patterns have not brought us the happiness, health, or fulfillment we seek. The known is seductive because it offers a sense of safety. It's like a well worn blanket that we wrap around ourselves, providing a false sense of security. We cling to it even when it no longer serves us, even when it confines us to a limited version of who we are. The known is where we repeat the same thoughts, emotions, and behaviors day after day because they are what we have grown accustomed to. It's comfortable not because it is beneficial, but because it is familiar. The problem is that the familiar keeps us stuck in a loop, recreating the same experiences over and over again. If we want to truly transform, to heal on a fundamental level, we must be willing to venture beyond this comfort zone. We must be willing to abandon the known and enter the river of change. This journey of transformation is not a smooth or easy path. It requires us to shed the layers of our old selves, the identities we have constructed over the years. These layers are made up of the thoughts we habitually think, the emotions we habitually feel, and the behaviors we habitually enact. They are the very fabric of our current personality. In the process of change, it can feel as though we are undergoing a kind of biological death, a death of the old personality that has kept us tethered to our past. And this process can only be described as uncomfortable because it goes against everything our body and mind have come to know as safe and predictable. When people ask me where discomfort fits into their practice of transformation, my answer is always the same. Discomfort is not an obstacle to change. It is a necessary part of the journey. In fact, if you're not experiencing some level of discomfort, it may be a sign that you are not truly stepping into the unknown. Real change pushes us out of our comfort zones. It forces us to confront the aspects of ourselves that we have been avoiding or denying. It challenges us to release the old stories and limiting beliefs that have been holding us back. It asks us to break free from the habitual patterns of thought and emotion that have become ingrained in our very being. This discomfort can manifest in many ways. It may arise as a feeling of unease or restlessness when we start to notice our habitual thought patterns and realize how deeply they are ingrained. It may show up as resistance when we attempt to change our emotional state, only to find that our body seems to crave the familiar feelings, even when they are negative or unproductive. It can feel like a battle within ourselves as we try to override the urge to control every aspect of our lives, to predict and anticipate every outcome based on our past experiences. This inner struggle is a natural part of the process. It is a sign that we are breaking free from the automatic pilot mode of living and becoming more conscious of our choices. There are layers and depths to what it means to be uncomfortable, and understanding these layers is crucial to navigating the path of transformation. The first layer of discomfort often arises when we start to become aware of our own patterns. When we begin to practice metacognition, becoming aware of our thoughts and not letting them slip by unnoticed, we realize just how much of our thinking is habitual and automatic. This realization can be unsettling. It takes a great deal of energy and awareness to step back and observe our thoughts without getting caught up in them. It can feel like we are constantly catching ourselves in the act of being our old selves. The next layer of discomfort comes when we start to make different choices. It's one thing to become aware of our patterns. It's another thing entirely to change them. Every time we choose a new thought, a new emotion, or a new behavior, we are stepping into the unknown. This requires us to break the neurological and emotional patterns that have become hardwired in our brain and body. It is not easy, and it often feels uncomfortable because it is unfamiliar. Our old self will resist, urging us to return to the familiar course, to take the path of least resistance. But it is precisely in those moments of discomfort that the real transformation occurs. True change is not about seeking comfort, but about being willing to sit with discomfort. It is about recognizing that the unease we feel is a sign that we are in the midst of shedding the layers of our old self and making space for something new. It is the discomfort of growth, the growing pains of expanding beyond our current limitations. This process is not always linear or predictable. There will be times when we feel like we are making progress, and times when we feel like we are taking two steps back. But every moment of discomfort is an opportunity to choose differently, to align with a new vision of who we want to become. Discomfort is not the enemy, it is a guidepost. It shows us where we are still clinging to the old, where we are afraid to let go, and where we need to bring more awareness and intention. When we understand that discomfort is an inherent part of the journey of change, we can learn to embrace it rather than resist it. We can see it as a signal that we are on the right path, that we are pushing the boundaries of what we have known and stepping into the realm of new possibilities. So, the next time you find yourself feeling uncomfortable on the path of healing or transformation, remember that this is a sign of growth. It means you are moving beyond the familiar, stepping into the river of change and allowing the old layers of your personality to fall away. It is through this process that we create the space for something new to emerge. New self that is not bound by the limitations of the past, but is free to create a new reality. At times, discomfort arises from the immediate needs of survival. Life can suddenly thrust us into situations where stress and the fight or flight response are not only appropriate but necessary for our safety and the safety of those we care about. Imagine a scenario where your child wakes up in the middle of the night with a dangerously high fever. In those moments, there is no room for hesitation. You are propelled into action, your senses heightened, your focus laser sharp. Your mind races through all the possible actions you need to take. Finding medicine, calling a doctor, staying by their side to monitor every sign and symptom, or think of a loved one losing their job, plunging your family into financial uncertainty. The weight of the situation presses down on you, and you are thrown into a state of high alert. You begin to think about what needs to be done immediately, how to cut expenses, where to find additional income, and how to keep everything afloat until the storm passes. In these instances, your body's stress response kicks in as it was designed to do. It releases a surge of stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, which keep you awake, alert, and ready to act. Your body is doing exactly what it was evolved to do, preparing you to meet a threat head on. This is a deeply ingrained biological response that has been essential for our survival since the earliest days of humanity. When our ancestors faced threats like predators or environmental dangers, this fight or flight mechanism would instantly activate, mobilizing every ounce of energy and focus to deal with the immediate danger. It's a life saving response, a signal to the body that something needs urgent attention. Your heart rate increases, your blood pressure rises, your senses become sharper, and your muscles are primed for action. All non essential functions, such as digestion and long term growth processes, are temporarily put on hold so that all available resources can be diverted to dealing with the crisis at hand. In the short term, this state of heightened alertness is beneficial and necessary. It provides you with the physical and mental stamina to confront the situation and protect yourself and those around you. I recall a woman who approached me at a retreat, deeply troubled by her recent experience. Her husband had faced an urgent work crisis that required her legal expertise. While most of the retreat attendees were asleep, Resting their minds and bodies in preparation for the next day's meditation, she stayed up all night drafting a comprehensive email to ensure her husband received the proper treatment. The situation required her to draw on every bit of her knowledge, concentration, and energy. She was worried that by allowing herself to enter this heightened state of stress, she was somehow failing in her practice of personal growth and mindfulness. She believed that she should have remained calm and detached, that her stress was a sign of regression. But I reassured her that she had done exactly what she needed to do. In that particular moment, her stress hormones served a critical purpose. They gave her the energy and alertness necessary to navigate the crisis and support her husband when he needed it most. There was nothing wrong with being in that survival state. In fact, it was a crucial and appropriate response to a real threat. However, the body's survival mechanisms are meant for short term use. They are designed to help us through immediate crises and then allow us to return to a state of balance. The problem arises when we find ourselves in this state of high alert for extended periods. In today's world, while we may not be facing physical dangers like predators, our modern stressors, job insecurity, relationship issues, financial pressures can keep us in a perpetual state of survival. When the fight or flight response becomes chronic, it leads to a cascade of physiological, mental, and emotional imbalances. Our bodies are not designed to sustain this level of stress over the long term. It's like keeping a car engine running at maximum RPMs without ever giving it a chance to cool down. Over time, this constant revving wears out the engine, causing damage that can lead to breakdown. When we remain in survival mode for too long, the stress hormones that were initially meant to protect us begin to have a detrimental effect on our health. Our heart rate and blood pressure remain elevated, placing strain on the cardiovascular system. The immune system becomes compromised, making us more susceptible to illness. Our digestive and reproductive systems, which are suppressed during the fight or flight response, may develop dysfunctions due to prolonged neglect. On a mental and emotional level, the chronic release of stress hormones can lead to anxiety, depression, and cognitive difficulties. We become hypervigilant, constantly scanning for potential threats, even when none exist. Our minds get trapped in a cycle of worry and fear, unable to relax or find peace. We lose our ability to think clearly and creatively because our brains are stuck in survival mode, focused solely on avoiding danger rather than exploring possibilities. This chronic state of high alert not only impacts our physical health, but also affects our overall quality of life. We become reactive rather than proactive, responding to life's challenges from a place of fear rather than a place of empowerment. We start to see the world through the lens of survival, where every situation is perceived as a potential threat. Our relationships suffer as we become more irritable and less present. Our personal growth stagnates because we are too preoccupied with just getting through the day to focus on deeper transformation. It's as if we are always on the defensive, bracing ourselves for the next crisis rather than living with an open heart and mind. The toll of living in chronic survival mode is significant. It drains our energy, depletes our vitality, and diminishes our capacity to experience joy and fulfillment. We become so accustomed to the discomfort of survival that it starts to feel normal, even though it is far from our natural state of being. We forget what it feels like to be truly relaxed, centered, and at ease. Our bodies become accustomed to the constant flood of stress hormones, and our nervous system adapts to this heightened state of arousal, making it difficult to shift back into a state of calm. This is why it is crucial to recognize when we are in survival mode and to take steps to move out of it once the immediate threat has passed. The first step is awareness, becoming mindful of our body signals and our emotional state. Are we tense, anxious, and on edge? Are we experiencing symptoms of chronic stress such as fatigue, irritability, or difficulty sleeping? By paying attention to these signs, We can start to distinguish between the necessary discomfort of survival in a crisis and the maladaptive discomfort of being stuck in survival mode long after the crisis is over. The goal is not to eliminate the survival response. It plays a vital role in keeping us safe, but to ensure that we are not living in it unnecessarily. When we find ourselves clinging to the discomfort of survival, it's a sign that we need to shift our focus. We need to take conscious steps to relax our bodies, calm our minds, and reconnect with the present moment. This might involve practices such as deep breathing, meditation, physical exercise, or spending time in nature. By consciously choosing to move out of survival mode, we create the space for healing, creativity, and personal growth to flourish. We allow our bodies to return to a state of balance, where they can repair, rejuvenate, and thrive. As we become more skilled in the work of self transformation, we learn a crucial distinction: the difference between reacting out of habit and responding out of habit and responding out of necessity. It's a subtle but profound shift in awareness. The discomfort that comes from survival is something most of us know well. It's the immediate instinctual response to situations that demand quick action, those moments when we feel threatened or when our environment forces us into a state of high alert. But there is another, more nuanced kind of discomfort that arises when we embark on the journey of true change. This discomfort emerges not from external threats, but from within as we begin to challenge the deeply ingrained patterns of our own mind and body. When we decide to break free from our old ways of thinking, feeling, and behaving, our entire system often resists. Our old selves, those familiar identities we've inhabited for so long, will whisper that it's easier to revert to the known, even if that known state is one of limitation, pain, or lack. In the early stages of this work, we engage in metacognition, the practice of becoming aware of our thoughts. It's a process that requires us to step outside of our habitual mind and observe it objectively. This practice can be surprisingly challenging. As we begin to watch our thoughts, we start to notice how often we replay the same mental loops. We see how frequently we summon memories that evoke certain emotions, even when those emotions are uncomfortable or unpleasant. Our bodies seem to crave the familiarity of these feelings, seeking out the chemical responses that have become ingrained in our physiology. It's as if our bodies have become addicted to the emotional states that we have rehearsed over and over again. This awareness can be disconcerting. It's like turning on a light in a room we have kept dark for too long. We start to see how much of our lives we spend trying to control and predict the future based on these well-worn patterns of thought and emotion. We notice how we cling to the need for certainty, how we attempt to navigate life by relying on the same strategies and behaviors that have kept us in a loop of sameness. Breaking free from these patterns requires an enormous amount of energy and focus. It's not just a mental shift, it's a full body endeavor. We are asking our entire being to move in a new direction, away from the well-trodden paths that have defined our experience up to this point. The effort to disentangle ourselves from these deeply ingrained programs can be profoundly uncomfortable. It requires us to confront the parts of ourselves that we have kept hidden or ignored. It demands that we face the reality of our own limitations and take responsibility for the ways we have kept ourselves stuck. Then comes the crucial and often most difficult step: choosing something different every time we catch ourselves falling into those old patterns. This is where the real work begins. Our conditioned states of being are like trails in a dense forest. They are easy to follow because they are familiar and well worn. When we catch ourselves thinking the same limiting thoughts, feeling the same habitual emotions, or acting in the same predictable ways, we are faced with a choice. Do we continue down the familiar path or do we forge a new one? Choosing the latter can feel like a monumental task. It's so much easier to pick up the phone, turn on the TV, or find some other distraction to avoid the discomfort that comes with change. We tell ourselves, I'll start tomorrow, even though we know that tomorrow is just another version of today unless we make a conscious decision to do something different. Standing at the edge of the river of change, we often find ourselves hesitating. We look longingly at the dry land of the known, where everything is predictable, even if it's not what we truly desire. The river represents the unknown, the flow of new possibilities, the potential for transformation. But to step into it, we must let go of the shore. We must be willing to face the currents of discomfort that come with moving away from our old selves. This is the point where many people turn back, not because they lack the desire for change, but because they are not yet comfortable with the unfamiliar. It's human nature to seek out what is known and safe, even if it means sacrificing growth and expansion. So much of this work is about recognizing when we are uncomfortable with the unfamiliar and learning to sit with it. It's about becoming aware of the moments when we want to retreat into our old patterns and choosing to stay present instead. We are constantly working to self regulate, to find that place within us that can remain calm and centered even in the midst of uncertainty. This self regulation is not about suppressing our feelings or pretending that we don't experience discomfort. Rather, it's about acknowledging our discomfort and then choosing to connect with the emotions and vision of the future we want to create. It's about finding a way to cultivate those elevated emotions. Joy, love, despite the pull of our old habits. This process requires us to stop waiting for our external circumstances to change before we feel better. Instead, we commit to changing our internal state first, trusting that this internal shift will eventually reflect in our external reality. This is the essence of moving from survival to creation. It's a shift from being a victim of our circumstances to becoming the creator of our lives. But this shift does not happen overnight, and it does not happen without discomfort. It requires us to embrace the unknown, to step into the unfamiliar with a sense of curiosity and openness. Embracing this kind of discomfort is a radical act. It goes against everything we have been conditioned to believe about comfort and safety. We have been taught to avoid pain, to seek pleasure, and to stay within the bounds of what is known. But if we truly want to transform, we must learn to see discomfort not as a signal to stop, but as a sign that we are on the right path. The discomfort we feel is the evidence that we are breaking free from the old and making room for something new. It is the sensation of growth, the growing pains of expanding into a new version of ourselves. This is why it's so important to develop a practice that supports us in this journey. Whether it's meditation, mindfulness, or any other form of self reflection, we need tools that help us stay grounded as we navigate the river of change. We need practices that remind us of who we are becoming, that help us connect with the vision of our future, and that give us the strength to choose the unfamiliar over the familiar. Every time we choose to sit with our discomfort rather than run from it, we are strengthening our ability to stay present. We are building the capacity to remain calm and centered, even when the currents of change feel overwhelming. This process is not about perfection. It's not about getting it right every time. It's about showing up day after day and being willing to do the work. It's about being gentle with ourselves when we stumble and finding the courage to get back up and try again. The more we practice, the more we learn to trust in the process. We start to see that the discomfort is not there to stop us. It's there to guide us. It's a sign that we are moving beyond our old limitations and stepping into a new reality. And with each step we take into the unknown, we become more aligned with the life we are meant to live. A simple yet powerful practice for navigating discomfort is to catch ourselves in the very act of feeling uneasy. This requires a heightened sense of self-awareness, a willingness to pause and observe what is happening within us, rather than simply reacting to it. When we notice that discomfort bubbling up, whether it's a knot in our stomach, a racing mind, or a sense of dread, we can take a moment to acknowledge it. Instead of pushing it away or trying to distract ourselves, we can say to ourselves, okay, I'm in the river of change. This discomfort means that a biological death is happening. It's crucial now to self regulate, to stay present and resist the urge to predict the future or dwell on the past. This is the moment to change my state from within. By doing this, we shift our perspective on discomfort. We no longer see it as a sign that something is wrong or that we should retreat. Instead, we view it as a signal, an indication that transformation is occurring and that we are in the process of leaving the old behind. This practice is simple, but it can be incredibly transformative. It doesn't require us to be free of discomfort. Rather, it asks us to be conscious of it and to respond to it in a new way. The key is to recognize that discomfort is not an enemy to be fought or a problem to be solved. It's a natural part of the process of change. When we can consciously remember that our discomfort is a cue to self regulate, even if we manage to do this just once a day at first, we are making significant progress. We are starting to rewire our brains and bodies to respond to discomfort, not with fear or avoidance, but with a sense of curiosity and openness. This is how we begin to learn the art of moving from survival to creation. In survival mode, our reactions are automatic and driven by the need for immediate safety and control. But in the realm of creation, we operate from a place of conscious choice. We are no longer reacting to life. We are actively shaping it. This shift is marked not by the absence of discomfort, but by our ability to navigate it with grace and awareness. It's not about how comfortable we can make ourselves feel, but rather how skillfully we can find balance in the midst of discomfort. This balance is a state where we are both relaxed and alert. It's a place where we can sit with our unease without being overwhelmed by it, where we can allow ourselves to be in the unknown without needing to rush back to the safety of the familiar. Embracing discomfort goes against our survival programming. Our biology is wired to view the unknown as a potential threat, something to be avoided or controlled. This is an evolutionary mechanism that has served us well in situations of immediate danger. But in the context of personal growth and transformation, the same mechanism can hold us back. When we approach the unknown with fear, we limit our ability to explore new possibilities and to expand our consciousness. But when we learn not just to sit with discomfort, but to welcome it, we open the door to a higher level of awareness. We start to see that the unknown is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced. It's the space where true creation happens, where new insights, ideas, and experiences can emerge. This shift in perspective is what allows us to transcend our old limitations. When we redefine discomfort as a necessary part of growth rather than a sign of failure or danger, we change our relationship with it. We begin to understand that feeling uncomfortable is not a signal to stop. It's a signal that we are moving in the right direction. It's a sign that we are stepping into the unfamiliar, and that means we are on the path to something new. This doesn't mean the discomfort will magically disappear. In fact, it may intensify as we continue to push the boundaries of our comfort zone. But with practice, we develop a greater capacity to stay present with it, to breathe through it, and to trust in the process. In this way, embracing discomfort becomes an act of courage. It's a willingness to be vulnerable, to face the parts of ourselves that we have been avoiding, and to let go of the need for certainty and control. This is not easy, but it is the gateway to transformation. When we embrace discomfort, we allow ourselves to be shaped by the experiences we encounter. We let go of the rigid structures of our old selves and become more fluid, more adaptable, and more open to the flow of life. We start to realize that the moments of discomfort are often the moments when we are most alive, most engaged with the process of becoming who we are meant to be. In fact, this is how I define genius: being uncomfortable and being okay with it. True genius is not about having all the answers or being in control of every situation. It's about being willing to step into the unknown, to explore the edges of our understanding, and to be at peace with the uncertainty that comes with that exploration. It's about being able to hold space for our discomfort without needing to change it, fix it, or run from it. This level of presence and self awareness is what allows us to access the deeper levels of our consciousness, where our greatest potential resides. The more we practice this, the more we start to see discomfort not as a barrier, but as a doorway. It's the threshold we must cross to move from who we have been to who we are becoming. Every time we catch ourselves feeling uneasy and choose to stay present rather than retreating into old patterns, we are taking a step forward. We are building our resilience, our capacity to remain open and creative in the face of uncertainty. And with each step, we become more comfortable with the process of change itself. We learn to trust that even though the path may be difficult, it is leading us toward a greater expression of who we truly are. In this state of being, we become less focused on the outcome and more engaged with the process. We start to find a sense of peace not in the absence of discomfort, but in our ability to navigate it with awareness and grace. We begin to understand that the discomfort we feel is the friction of transformation, the tension of growth. It's the sign that we are in the process of shedding our old skin and allowing something new to emerge. And in this realization, we find a deeper sense of freedom. We are no longer bound by the need for everything to be easy or certain. We are free to explore, to experiment, and to evolve. In embracing discomfort, we reclaim our power as creators. We step into the river of change with a sense of purpose and determination, knowing that every moment of unease is a moment of potential. It's an opportunity to rewrite our story, to choose a new way of being, and to align ourselves with the highest vision of who we can become. This is the journey of self-transformation, and it begins not with the pursuit of comfort, but with the willingness to embrace the unknown.
We are going to begin with a startling concept. The person you think you are, the person you've always believed yourself to be, is not the immutable entity you might imagine. You are not merely the sum of your past experiences, habits, emotions, or thoughts. You are not bound by the shackles of past mistakes, nor are you doomed to repeat your patterns. The truth is much more empowering. You are a magnificent, ever-evolving being with unlimited potential for change, growth, and self-realization. This chapter serves as a challenge and an invitation to step into that truth, to shatter the mold of your old self and make way for the emergence of your new self. How do we begin this process? By daring to believe in our ability to reshape our reality, by understanding that every thought we harbor, every emotion we feel, every action we undertake either strengthens our old self or contributes to the birth of our new self. The process is akin to standing before a mirror, examining the reflection it offers, not just the physical appearance, but the manifestation of our mindset, our beliefs, our attitudes, and our worldviews. To break the habit of being yourself, you must first understand the nature of these habits. They are not just your routines or repeated actions. They are the deeper, often unnoticed patterns of thinking and feeling that shape your existence. They are the subconscious scripts that dictate your reactions to life's challenges and joys. Recognize that these scripts, while they may have served you in the past, do not have to define your future. You may ask, how can I break free from these ingrained habits? They have been with me for so long. I am comfortable in them. Herein lies the fundamental paradox: the comfort of the familiar versus the unknown potential of the new. This process is not comfortable. It is not easy. It demands courage, commitment, and a willingness to step out of the comfort zone. But remember, while the cocoon is comfortable, it is only through breaking free that the caterpillar transforms into a butterfly. The act of reinvention is a powerful exercise in vulnerability. It asks us to let go of our ego's tight grip, to lay bare our insecurities and face them head-on. It challenges us to confront our fears of the unknown, our anxieties about what others might think, our worries about failure. It is here, in this space of raw vulnerability, that true growth occurs. It is here that we shed the layers of our old self and begin to construct the foundation of our new self. To lose your mind is a phrase typically associated with chaos, confusion, and despair. However, in the context of our journey, it is not about losing control. Rather, it's about embracing a radical transformation of your thought patterns. It's about surrendering old and limiting beliefs and perspectives that have shaped your identity and reality thus far. It's about navigating through the fog of uncertainty and standing at the edge of an expansive, uncharted territory of thoughts and possibilities. Here on this precipice is where you create a new mind. Think of your mind as a vast, fertile landscape. Over time, paths have been worn into this landscape, etched by repeated thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions. These well-trodden paths have become the highways of your mind, the routes most frequently traveled. They form the basis of your habits, your automatic responses, and your ingrained ways of thinking. To lose your old mind is to step off these highways, to venture into the unexplored wilderness, and to forge new paths that reflect your new self. Crafting a new mind begins with conscious awareness. It is about catching yourself as you mindlessly travel along your mental highways and making a conscious decision to step off the beaten path. It is about choosing to think differently, to entertain new ideas, to approach familiar situations from novel perspectives. This process is both thrilling and disconcerting. It's thrilling because it opens up a myriad of possibilities for self-growth and transformation. It's disconcerting because it challenges you to question deeply held beliefs and to face the discomfort of the unknown. As you undertake this process, it is crucial to maintain a sense of curiosity and openness. Imagine you're an explorer, setting foot on an uncharted land. Every step you take, every discovery you make, contributes to the mapping of this new territory. You will encounter obstacles and dead ends. You will face challenging terrain and unforeseen complications, but each setback is an opportunity to learn, adapt, and deepen your understanding of this new landscape. This transformative process is not just a mental exercise. It is intrinsically linked to the physiological realm as well. Every new thought you entertain, every fresh perspective you consider, every innovative idea you ponder, sparks changes in your brain's structure and function. This is the essence of neuroplasticity, your brain's remarkable ability to change and adapt in response to experience. As you craft your new mind, you're also sculpting your brain in ways that support your new self. Remember, however, that the process of losing your old mind and creating a new one is not a single event. It's an ongoing journey. Just as a sculptor does not create a masterpiece with a single stroke, you cannot reshape your mind with a solitary thought. It requires consistent effort, patience, and resilience. It demands that you show up every day with a commitment to think differently, act differently, and be differently. In the moments of doubt, when the task seems daunting or the old patterns beckon you back, remember why you embarked on this journey. Remember the potential that awaits you as you craft a new mind. Remember the freedom that comes from breaking the chains of limiting beliefs and the exhilaration that arises from exploring the uncharted territories of your mind. Hold on to these reminders, for they will serve as your compass, guiding you as you step off the well-trodden path and forge a new trail towards your reinvented self. And finally, as you strive to lose your old mind, remember to be gentle with yourself. Embrace your humanity, your mistakes, and your stumbles. Each misstep is a sign that you are pushing boundaries, that you are growing, that you are courageously carving a new path. Cherish these moments, for they mark the beautiful journey of creating your new mind. Imagine yourself as a gardener standing before a vast expanse of lush, verdant growth, an intricate network of plants that represents your brain's synapses, the points where neurons communicate. Some of these plants are strong, towering, and robust. They've been nurtured for years, representing thoughts and beliefs that have become deeply ingrained. Others are small, fragile saplings, newly sprouted ideas and perspectives vying for nourishment. Here, in this rich garden of your mind, you face a dual task: the pruning of old, overgrown plants and the nurturing of fresh growth. Pruning is a crucial process in gardening. It helps remove dead or overgrown branches, allowing light and air to reach the plant's core, encouraging healthier growth. Similarly, pruning synaptic connections is about letting go of thoughts, beliefs, and patterns that no longer serve us. These could be negative self-perceptions, limiting beliefs, or outdated assumptions that stifle our growth and potential. Just as pruning promotes a tree's vitality, this mental pruning clears the path for our cognitive and emotional evolution. Pruning may be uncomfortable. It might even be painful. Cutting away parts of ourselves that we've long identified with can feel like a loss. It's akin to saying goodbye to an old friend, one that might not have been good for us, but was consistently there. But remember, pruning isn't about destroying. It's about making space for new growth. It's about setting aside what no longer serves us, creating room for what could nourish us. It is a process of surrender and release, making way for rejuvenation and renewal. As you release these old connections, remember that the spaces left behind are not voids. They are fertile grounds, ripe for new growth. Here is where you start nurturing the saplings, the fresh, empowering thoughts and beliefs that align with your new self. It is an exciting journey of exploration and discovery, as you uncover beliefs and patterns that resonate with your truest self, but one unencumbered by the past's constraints. But how do we nurture these new synaptic connections? We do so by providing them with consistent nourishment. The nourishment of positive thought, the nourishment of aligned action, and the nourishment of supportive emotion. Consistent practice is key here. Each time you choose a new thought over an old one, each time you take an action that reflects your new belief, you strengthen these new synaptic connections. You help them grow stronger, more robust, more integrated into the landscape of your mind. As we delve deeper into this intricate dance of destruction and creation, of pruning and nurturing, we also delve into the fascinating science of neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the brain's remarkable ability to reorganize itself, to change and adapt, in response to experience. It is the physiological foundation of our transformation, the concrete evidence of our power to reshape our minds, ourselves, and our reality. Engaging with neuroplasticity is like becoming a sculptor of your mind. You stand before the raw material of your brain, and with the tools of thought, action, and emotion, shape it into a reflection of your new self. This is not a quick or straightforward process. It requires patience, resilience, and time. But with each stroke, with each modification, you progressively shape your brain to support your transformation, to facilitate your journey toward your new self. This exploration into pruning and nurturing is more than a philosophical or scientific journey. It is a deeply personal, intimate journey into the core of your being. It is a path that will challenge you, provoke you, and push you to the edges of your comfort zone. It will also empower you, inspire you, and illuminate the immense potential you hold within. Embrace this journey with an open heart and mind, trusting in your innate ability to grow, adapt, and transform. Our journey continues by delving deeper into the complex interplay between the mind and body. We have previously navigated the pathways of thoughts and beliefs, but it is equally vital to recognize the powerful influence of our emotions and the ways they condition our bodies. In this chapter, we focus on the process of unmemorizing past emotions and reconditioning our bodies to a new mind and new emotions, crafting an internal environment that aligns with our transformed selves. Emotions are more than fleeting feelings. They are intricate physiological responses that have profound effects on our bodies and minds. Each emotion we experience triggers a cascade of biochemical reactions within our bodies, affecting everything from our heart rate to our digestive system, from our hormone levels to our neural activity. Over time, repeated emotional responses can create physiological memories, establishing habitual patterns in our bodies. This is the process of emotional conditioning. The challenge we face is that many of us are conditioned by emotions anchored to past experiences. Emotions of fear, sadness, anger, guilt, or shame. We hold these emotions in our bodies, replaying them in our minds, essentially living in the emotional past. But here's the liberating truth. Just as we can unlearn old thoughts and beliefs, we can also unmemorize past emotions. Unmemorizing emotions begins with awareness. It is about catching ourselves as we slip into old emotional patterns, identifying the triggers that spark these patterns, and acknowledging the impact they have. Such strategies often intensify their grip. Instead, it's about facing these emotions courageously, understanding their origins, and compassionately releasing them. It's about stepping out of the past's emotional shadows and choosing to inhabit the present moment, where these emotions have no power. As we unmemorize old emotions, we simultaneously embark on the process of reconditioning our bodies to new emotions, to feelings of joy, love, peace, gratitude, or excitement. These emotions serve as signals to our bodies that mirror the thoughts and beliefs of our new selves. When we choose to cultivate these emotions, we create new physiological memories, new patterns that reflect our transformed state of being. Reconditioning our bodies to new emotions is a practice of conscious creation. It is about intentionally evoking these emotions, immersing ourselves in their energy, and allowing them to flow through our bodies. With time and practice, these new emotional states become familiar. Our bodies learn to remember them. This is how we condition our bodies to a new mind, a new emotional reality. Remember, the practice of unmemorizing and reconditioning is not a one-time event. It is an ongoing process, a journey of emotional evolution. There will be moments of struggle, moments when old emotions resurface, attempting to pull you back into past patterns. But each time you choose a new emotion, each time you immerse yourself in the energy of your new self, you reinforce this new emotional reality. You send a powerful signal to your body that you are no longer the person of the past. You are the person of the present, the architect of your future. It's important to note that this journey is not about denying or rejecting our pasts. Our pasts have shaped us, molded us, taught us invaluable lessons. However, we need not remain emotionally bound to our pasts. We can honor our past experiences without allowing them to dictate our present emotional states or our future trajectories. Lastly, as we navigate this path, let's remember to embrace compassion for ourselves and for others. We all carry emotional baggage from our pasts. We've all been conditioned in ways that might no longer serve us. As we learn to unmemorize our past emotions and recondition our bodies to new ones, let's extend grace and understanding to ourselves. Let's celebrate each small victory, each moment of release, each step towards emotional liberation. This is the path to authentic emotional transformation, the path to aligning our bodies with our new minds and our new selves. We stand at the precipice of our final journey in this transformative process, the creation of a new future. After breaking the habits of our old selves, cultivating new thoughts and beliefs, pruning and nurturing our synapses, and unmemorizing past emotions to recondition our bodies, we now face the open canvas of our future. It is here, in this realm of infinite possibilities, that we get to consciously and deliberately shape our destiny. Creating a new future is not about making detailed plans or setting rigid goals, though these can be useful tools. Instead, it is about consciously choosing who we want to be and how we want to experience our lives. It is about aligning our thoughts, emotions, and actions with the future we desire. It is about stepping into the energy of our future selves, living and embodying it in our present moments. The process starts with visualization. Visualization is a powerful tool that allows us to construct vivid mental images of our desired future. It is more than just a mental exercise. It is an immersive experience that involves our entire being. We see the future we desire, but we also feel it, taste it, touch it, and hear it. We immerse ourselves in the sensory experience of our desired future, making it as real and tangible as our present reality. This practice of visualization serves a dual purpose. First, it helps us clarify our desires, crystallizing vague aspirations into tangible images. Second, it primes our minds and bodies for the reality of this future, creating new synaptic connections and evoking emotions that align with our future selves. As we visualize, it's crucial to infuse our images with emotion. The combination of clear mental imagery and powerful emotion creates a potent signal to our bodies and our subconscious minds. This signal communicates that the future we desire is not just a distant possibility. It is an imminent reality. The more we can feel the reality of our future in our present moments, the more we align ourselves with its manifestation. The next step in creating a new future is embodiment. Embodiment is about living our future selves in our present moments. It's about making choices, taking actions, and cultivating thoughts and emotions that align with our desired future. It's about being our future selves, here and now. Imagine you desire a future where you are confident and successful. How would that version of you think? How would they act? How would they feel? Start thinking, acting, and feeling like that version of you. Start making decisions from their perspective. Start viewing the world through their eyes. The more you embody your future self, the more you align your current reality with your desired future. The process of creating a new future is also one of letting go. It's about releasing attachment to specific outcomes, about surrendering to the flow of life. It's about trusting that as you align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with your desired future, the universe will respond accordingly, orchestrating events and experiences that mirror your internal state. This journey is not a linear one. It is filled with twists and turns, peaks and valleys. There will be moments of doubt and uncertainty, moments when your old self resurfaces, pulling you back into past patterns. In such moments, gently remind yourself of your power to create, your power to choose a different path. Remind yourself that with every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every action you take, you are crafting your future. Embrace patience and perseverance as you walk this path. Remember that creating a new future is not about immediate results. It's about consistent growth and transformation. It's about the journey rather than the destination. Celebrate each step forward, each small victory, each moment of alignment with your future self. These are the precious milestones that mark your path of creation. Finally, as you step into the role of the conscious creator of your life, remember to infuse your journey with joy, curiosity, and love. Creating a new future is not a task or a chore. It's an exciting adventure, a journey of self-discovery and self-expression. It's an opportunity to experience the thrill of your creative